I'm Ilan Wurman, an associate professor of law here at the University of Minnesota Law School. I teach and I study constitutional law and administrative law, which together I suppose you could describe as public law. But basically, these are the classes that go over the law respecting our government officials. So it's the laws governing those who govern us. The reason I study the Constitution and constitutional structure is because a constitution as successful as the American Constitution has been over time, as it has been amended and perfected, so to speak, although we still have a lot of work to do, they're extraordinarily difficult to achieve. That is an experiment that remains ongoing, and it is fleeting if we don't study it, if we don't seek to preserve it. And I find that to be very inspiring. We still have a ton of work to do, which is also a reason to teach the subject. I study this because I am inspired by it and believe that there is more work to be done. I teach constitutional law to 1Ls. That's the class that deals with structure, that is the separation of powers and federalism. One thing that's very surprising, in a pleasant way, pleasantly surprising, is how many connections you will discover exist among the different fields of law. So you might not see the connection, for example, between criminal procedure, a class on the Fourth Amendment or the Fifth Amendment or the Sixth Amendment, and say the doctrine of unconstitutional conditions, which you often learn in First Amendment. Well, one of my first law review articles was applying the doctrine of unconstitutional conditions to a set of Fourth Amendment cases that made no sense at all. And once you applied one doctrine that you learned more in one field to this other field, all of the paradoxes and contradictions and tensions disappeared, and it was like solving a puzzle. And so it's pleasantly surprising to discover how much problem solving one could do in law and all the connections that one over time will see through the study of law. I think it's more important to read slowly and to really understand the material than it is to read everything, right? If it's the choice between skimming everything and retaining nothing, and reading a little bit of the material slowly and for understanding, I think the latter is more important. And your professors are often to blame for this. I'm often to blame for this. It's easy to talk, it's harder to walk the talk. But I really think that that's important, and if you find yourself with a really long reading, consider skimming it to find out what you think the most important parts are, and then really slow down when you get to those parts, and really think through and luxuriate over that material, and really try to digest that material.